Okay, in this video we're going to learn how to name covalent compounds. The simplest to name are the diatomic molecules, just H2, F2, N2, O2, Cl2, Br2, I2. Whenever you see these diatomic molecules, they're simply given their element name. So it's hydrogen gas, fluorine gas, nitrogen gas, oxygen gas, chlorine gas, right? In fact, oxygen is often called oxygen rather than oxygen gas. But we're supposed to understand, by the way, that that's what they mean. So if there's a question and it asks for the molecular weight of iodine gas, we need to know that it's I2 rather than just a single iodine. Okay, this exists this way only when and not in compounds. Okay, now when there's other more complicated compounds without an oxygen, we add these prefixes. So mono for one, di, tri, tetra, penta, hexa, hepta, octa, nona, dec. So I would suggest you remember at least a couple of these, but I wouldn't spend too much time on them. Just having a kind of a general kind of awareness of them would be nice. So this one, especially the first three, mono, di, tri, tetra is common. By the time we get to deca, we're kind of more talking about molecules you're not going to see too much of in year 10. But this is carbon disulfide. Nitrogen, 1, 2, 3, trichloride. Carbon, tetrachloride. Right, and we're going to end all of them with the "ide" because they don't have that oxygen. When they do have oxygen, there's a variety of names depending on how much oxygen. The most common is this 8. Borate, carbonate, nitrate, phosphate, arsenate, sulfate. These are the most common, right? If there's a whole heap more of that, an unusual amount of it, sometimes we might talk about perchlorate, right? Or persulfate, right? That's an unusually high amount of oxygen. When there's less oxygen, we would call it ite, as in nitrite, sulfite, phosphite. When there's an unusually low amount of the oxygen, we might call it hypochlorite, hypoiodite, hypobromite, hypochlorite. Now, the tricky thing is there are no rules exactly how many oxygens we're talking about, right? So, for example, this one's called nitrate and has 3 oxygens. This one's called sulfate and has 4 oxygens. All right. This one's called carbonate and has 3 oxygens. So the number of oxygens is you're not going to know from the name. You're just going to know that the chlorate is going to have more oxygens than the chlorite. So it's just going to be just something you remember. Sulfate is SO4 2 minus, phosphate is PO4 2 minus, but nitrate is only NO3 minus. It's just going to be something you have to deal with. Sorry, sometimes chemistry is not very clean, and this is one of the occasions. So that's naming. First, remember that if it's a diatomic gas, we're talking about just name it after the gas. We can number using mono, di, tri, tetra, etc. And then the number of oxygens has the ite, 8, perchlorate, and hypochlorite. That's it from me today. Try the question below, and I'll see you in class.